Hi there, I'm Construction Gamer and this is the Midlands to London on Transport Fever 2. In today's episode we're going to be continuing with the Chilterns, Metropolitan and Piccadilly lines. No, not Piccadilly, Jubilee line. Yeah, Jubilee line. We're going to be building Harrow-on-the-Hill and hopefully up to Watford as well, which is obviously it has a separate tube station all of its own, or underground station. I always use those terms interchangeably. But since the last episode I've done a little bit of work around here, so I've built this junction here which goes off towards somewhere forgotten, up there somewhere. I think that's possibly the Piccadilly line, but it is it's quite tricky telling them apart because it just says on open rail maps that they're all like the Met line. So I'm just kind of flicking between using open rail maps and the London Underground map just to try and work out where everything lies. So we've got like 8 tracks here at one point, and then it got a bit of a grade separated junction. I was hoping to build Wembley Park station, but it's just not going to fit with the given the scale. I have moved things around a bit, so I've moved Harrow and Wealdstone up 2 segments. So I was going to demolish the station, but I thought I'd have to rebuild it again, so I've moved it up 2 segments. It hasn't really changed things a great deal, but it's just allowed me to move this Chilterns Met line up a bit further north, so I'm just a bit happier with the separation, and I've just been doing a tiny little bit of detail. I'm trying to fit roads in wherever I can, so there's roads, so it's like, you know, there's what's the word, zoning, residential and whatnot here, just so it looks like it's an urban setting. I'll probably do a lot of this little like detailing stuff off camera, but I don't want to do too much until I'm really happy with how the tracks are all kind of lining up. So I've got this London Overground, I think this is London Overground, is it? One of these lines is onto the Great Western. I think we're going to have Acton Main Line station on here as well. So yeah, that's all. It's obviously, I keep saying this, but it's not to scale, but I'm actually relatively happy with how it's all looking. It's very, very condensed, but I think it just gives you a little bit of a flavour of how complicated London's railways are in a really highly condensed area. I have deleted Harrow, so it was getting smaller and smaller and I kept deleting bits, so I thought instead I'll just delete it all together and then rebuild it again, just basically so we can get our tracks in, because this series build was supposed to be kind of building the West Coast Main Line. That was like the main thing that I wanted to do in this series, but as it's developed, then I've just found out that there's more and more tracks and things. I knew it was going to be complicated, but yeah, I didn't think I was going to be building as much of the tube network as I was going to, but as it turns out, you can't really build the main lines like the Chiltern line and the West Coast Main Line without like building the tube lines as well, because they come together like here, where we've got this bit of the Chilterns line. You know, it's an integral part of it. Now, I just want to double check. Now, I think here there's a road over the railway bridge, which is going to be a little bit tricky because obviously we're already quite high off the ground. So I'm just going to have a little quick look. Yeah, obviously this is a lot closer to the station than it should really be. So, but doesn't appear to be anything that we need to be building, but we do want to be building a station, which I'm thinking 120 metres long. Now I've subscribed to some tube trains, some London Underground trains, well, all of them. So we've got the 1992 stock, which that actually is not very long, so that's quite handy. And then we've got the 1972 stock as well, and then we've got the S stock as well. So I think we're just going to have short stations on this one, so that's only 116 metres long. This 1992 one is only 68. I mean, this is a full length one, I'm assuming that's 135. So I think my tube stations are going to be underground stations. My underground stations, which are overground, are going to be 120 metres long. And they're going to be catenary. No. If I do that, can I upgrade this to this one? No, I can't. But there are segments, aren't there? So we don't need to worry about that. So I'll just put no, I didn't want to put the station in really, but delete all this track then. Yeah, I mean, Harrow-on-the-Hill looks a bit short anyway, so I'm not really too worried. And I think what I'll use for this is the NL. And yeah, so we'll put the platforms in first. So we want the platforms. We just want, 3 segments, okie dokie. So something like that. And then some tracks. So we've got the new tunnel standard. No, we've got lots of track. Right, so it's gonna be, that's all tunnel. Concrete wireless, that's what we want, I think. So we'll have some of them. So what am I looking at here? Okay, so that's the very left one, that's nice and straightforward. So another 2 platforms. Actually, no, I think, yeah, another 2 platforms. And then some tracks, so with wireless standard again. Actually, should we? Just trying to look at this, so we've got track there, 2, another, yeah, we're going to have to go this way, I think. And then another platform. Although this is starting to go a bit too far that way, isn't it? I think what I'll do is delete this, start again. So a bit more over here, so building, so a bit over here, something like that. So that's going to be our centre platform of 3. I mean, it doesn't help that I'm doing 2 platform faces. Probably doesn't need it actually, but we will do it anyway. Or should we? Yeah, let's not limit ourselves in the future. I mean, I can't see this station being particularly busy, but I always just like to have the 2 platforms per face. You know what I mean. Right, so we've got our middle platform here, 2 tracks. I know one's going to be like the Chiltern line, but I'm just going to have them all using the this one here, the wireless track basically. So what, 6, what am I building here? This doesn't feel right. Right, so yeah, well, I'll just have the wireless track, so that's a bit more accurate. And then we'll have to have a platform on the end, like so. I think so, yeah, we've got 6 tracks altogether. And then we want, so it's got to be in MISC, isn't it? So we've got some steps at the end. So the station looks a little bit, I don't know if it's being rebuilt, but it looks a little bit of a mess on either end of it. It's just like there's lots of stuff just lying around. It looks almost like it's half derelict from what I can see from Google Maps. I mean, Google Maps obviously is probably not the best indicator, but it does look a little bit of a mess, Harrow-on-the-Hill. It does have some interesting looking building on the end, but obviously we can't recreate that. Yeah, some really weird 1960s looking building on the back of it as well, like on the overpass footbridge thing. So yeah, catenary. Oh no, don't want to be upgrading just yet. So that one onto there, and then that onto there. Just follow that a little bit, and then another one on there. Yeah, another one on there. Do the same. Probably would have heard that. And that's 80. No, that's quick enough. Let's see how sharp we can get this. So 60. I think 60 is probably quick enough. Obviously, I don't think these. I think there's going to be Chiltern services on these 2 tracks, and they're probably not going to be stopping at Harrow. And then we want a weird junction that goes from here to there. I don't know if it's a double slip switch or not, but it just seems to go like that for some reason. Don't know what it does, but it's there. So we will recreate it, and then actually no, we didn't want it there. Get rid of that. First things first, we want a diamond crossing. Can I build one on here? Oh, I can. That's good. Right, another one. No, you're gonna come on, just a little bit of a diamond crossing. Right, and then we've got this weird junction. Not sure what it does, but I will put it in because it exists, and that's all fine. So how are we looking? We're looking all right actually. Right, the next thing we want to do is get these retracts. So we've got one here, curving off a little bit. See how far west are we? Let's take a look. We are getting towards Slough. Let's just have a quick look. Yeah, actually, it's not too bad. I was just worried because this next junction we're going to build is where like one of the tube lines, underground lines, splits off to go towards Uxbridge. So actually get rid of these 2 bits of track. We're going to go back to our... Actually, are we? Yeah, I was just looking, are we going to use a flying junction? It looks like we are, so that's fine. Chuck that in. One of these in. I'm just using these all over the place now. Now I've started using them and figured out how to use them. So this wants to be, how many track? This wants to be 3 on the upper actually. 3 on the upper. And that just wants to be, yeah, 2 tracks. Maybe we can make that angle a little bit more sharp. The only, like a downside, oh no, I've done, no. The only downside with these is you can't have them curved, which would be handy. So I think if we put it in about there, whilst we have an autosave. Actually, and just having another look at Google, this looks like it's a slightly more modern structure. So we'll give it the newer concrete. I think it's going to have to be probably about here. Let's see if this will let us get... Which 2 tracks are they? It's these... Oh, it will. That's good. No, those 2 there. So those 2 into that. And then will that just connect up to that? It will. These, yeah, they really do make building flying junctions, great rapid junctions so much easier. And then this wants to start to curve up towards Watford. Yeah, I mean the tube like lines themselves don't need to be too quick, but I'm just aware that there will be other trains on this, so I'm just trying to balance it between having tight curves. I mean that's not too bad actually, because we are sort of heading in the right direction, but as we are kind of this far out of London, I'm assuming like the Chilterns trains, whatever they may be, would be going a little bit quicker by now. Can I? No, I can't just put that in there. I really do need to research what sort of Chiltern service we'll be using these lines, because I was just assuming like there's the Chilterns, the main line, the Chiltern main line off towards Aylesbury somewhere, and that was it. But no, there's a lot more going on. So I'm assuming then the Chiltern main line crosses this Uxbridge line at some point as well. So then we've got our 4 tracks there. So yeah, it's all looking good. So then we can. I think what I'll do is I'll configure this. We want, no, it's passenger building, isn't it? So I will have steps on this end, because it looks like there is an entrance on that end, but I'm not sure if Harrow is actually going to grow up to meet that. And then we want just a bit of street alongside here, and that will come in to meet that. Like so far, so good. Now Watford is looking like one of the most connected boroughs anywhere. It's got, basically it looks like it's going to have 3 stations, isn't it? It is. So I think I'll get rid of some of Watford, and then we will build this track. Actually, we'll just build a track up. So this wants to be pointing to a little bit towards Aylesbury at this point, I think. So we'll have these 4 tracks. Yeah, I mean I think this goes to show just how enormous London is with all these tracks, because pretty much all the way up to Watford into Slough should be built up, shouldn't it, and out towards Welwyn Garden City and Shenfield. Now I'm not going to be able to recreate that, obviously, because it will just kill my computer, but I will try and make it look built up with like these terraced houses and things like that. And obviously London does have parks and fields and things as well, so it's not all just houses. So I will do a little bit of detailing once we've kind of got most of the track in. Right, so we've got that in. The next one is the Watford South Junction, which starts to split off. So we've got what I'm calling the Chilterns line. It may not be called the Chilterns line at this stage, but I'm calling it the Chilterns line. And then we want our Watford South Junction, something a little bit like that. And then we've got 2 switches which kind of slew right over like this. Again, I don't know if they're double slips. I don't think they will be. I think it's just so trains can slew over onto these tracks, and then facing into Watford. And then we've just got a straightforward junction from there onto there. That's pretty straightforward, I think. Something a little bit like that. So we're starting to make progress now. It felt like I got a little bit bogged down around here because there's so much going on, trying to squeeze it all in, but I think we are starting to make progress now. So we want a building. Let's stick with the NL, 120 meters long. I think it wants to be facing like a westerly sort of direction, does it? Yeah, sort of a southwesterly direction. It's pretty, like almost on the outskirts of Watford actually. What's that? That's Watford High Street, isn't it? So I think we'll have it about here, and then just configure this. This is a simple station. Again, we're going with the NL platforms, so 2 down the middle. Get rid of the track, because obviously this has to be wireless. Oh no, don't. Internal error. What am I selecting the wrong thing again? What's happening here? Let's just make sure I haven't done what I did a few episodes back with when I was clicking on the wrong thing. So platforms, NL. Get rid of those platforms. Have I built the wrong station again? Internal error. Let's delete that. So we've got NL. Just chuck that in there. Configure. I literally did that on Harrow, didn't I? I just literally used these wireless tracks. Let's let me put them down there. Okie dokie. So maybe if I try it this way, this is right. So if we put the tracks in first, all will make sense in a minute. And then get rid of these. Not sure what was going on there. And then internal error. Don't understand what's going wrong. Because I've literally just used them. So maybe if I put catenary in. I definitely used an L before, didn't I? Maybe. Okay, let's try King's Cross. Don't know. Harrow-on-the-Hill used NL. That's really strange. Let's try it one more time. So NL. We'll go with catenary, yes. Building none. 120 tracks 1. Chuck that in there and then configure. Tracks. So using the concrete 320. I don't understand. Okie dokie, so I tried to build the station just like I'd done on Harrow-on-the-Hill. I've just double checked, and if I do this just to kind of prove my point, if I delete these two segments here, this is Harrow-on-the-Hill, the station we just built. This is using the NL station modules, nothing fancy. You just saw me do it. And if I use the concrete wireless standard concrete tracks, I can put those in there, no issue. And then if I come up to build my brand new station up here, which we tried before, last time I tried to do this we had a hard crash and basically, oh yeah, see, I just can't see what I'm doing differently. Maybe I'm doing something differently, I'm being a bit of an idiot, but yeah, it is definitely a little bit frustrating. Let's just try it on, I don't know. Not sure, it's just really random, and like I said, I ended up with a hard crash, so I lost all of the junction work that I'd done previously, so I've just done that again quickly. Yeah, it's not letting me do that, so that's frustrating. So I think what we will have to do is we'll have to do a little bit of a compromise, won't we? So let's get this over towards Watford, a little bit close to Watford centre. I think probably wants to be a little bit, be about here. Let's try that and then configure this. So yeah, a little bit of a compromise is using the Henry track. We might be able to come back at some stage. Maybe I am doing something wrong. If you can tell, there's a little bit of frustration in my voice. It is frustrating when you lose work, particularly when it doesn't appear that you've done anything differently to what you've been doing before. So that's that. Actually, I didn't take a look, or did I? I might have done. So what we want a passenger building. It's got, I think, an older style passenger building on the front. Yeah, something like that actually, that works. A little bit of overlap, and I don't know if there's any, so MISC, I don't know if there's any, I think there was a canopy. So put some benches in and we'll put a little bit of a canopy on the end as well. Like so. It's pretty straightforward, it's just frustrating that, yeah, it decided to die and lose all my work. So no, we're not upgrading, we're just going to put some, actually what I'll do is I will put in, so for like platforms like this or stations like this with a middle platform, I think it's helpful to do those two tracks, because those two tracks line up perfectly with the platforms, like they're exactly the same width. So then we need these to spread off, or do they actually? Let's just take a look. Yeah, so something like that. Join that into, no, actually what we'll do, get these in first, so those into there, get rid of those two just junctions, and then those into there. I know these bits, they don't do anything really, they're just stabling, but they exist, so I'll put them in. And then diamond crossing over there. You're gonna let me, nope, you're not gonna let me build a diamond crossing now. Right, there is a little bit of oddness going there, so I'll forgive it this time. No, it's not letting me do much today, is it? Right, let's try that again. Try it on the perfectly straight bit of track. Nope. What is wrong with the game today? That is, don't know. Right, we could push that back and to about there. I know it's on a tiny little bit of a curve, but I've built diamond crossings on more difficult track than that. I've just literally on Harrow-on-the-Hill built diamond crossings on a curved piece of track, so there we go, that's better. And then we'll have a little bit of signalling. Don't really need to worry too much about signalling at this stage, because we're a long way off, I think, running any train on this network. Well, we've got that in there anyway, so Watford has definitely got enough stations. So we'll put a little bit of road across there, and then I think we'll just extend this off somewhere. No, I don't want to be going underground. Not underground, but below the surface. So, and then just a bit of road into there. Maybe, hopefully, Watford might just, of its own accord, build into this area. That would be nice. Yeah, we'll just put some roads in, try and encourage some development. Put a little bit of, I don't want to connect anything to that because that already looks pretty ugly. Don't want to make it any worse. And then just little bits of road around, maybe a little bit more. Just trying to break up, just so it's not so much like a grid, trying to break it up a little bit. And maybe, so you're going with main road, are you? And then just again, just another side street. Maybe if you just have them at angles, they don't look so grid-like then, do they? Something a bit like that. So this is just literally Watford. So we've got Watford High Street, Watford Junction over here, and then we've got Watford there. And this is all looking, so we're going to have Uxbridge here, which is, I don't know what we're going to do with this yet, but it's just going to be a terminus for the London Underground services. And obviously we want to rebuild Harrow at some stage, and the road that I'd built got deleted as well, so we'll chuck that in. I'll build a few roads before I do anything else, but I think other than that little error, not sure what that was, I think we're starting to finally make progress on this after getting bogged down around here. So yeah, it's slowly starting to come together. This track here, which is the Chilterns main line, looks like it's going to push quite far west for a while. Obviously has to cross the line off to Uxbridge at some stage and then head off west towards the west of Aylesbury, doesn't it, before heading up towards the Bicester direction. So we finally broke free of London. We've got a lot to do still, but I think we're making a little bit of progress now, and things are certainly starting to come together. So we've got nothing to really show you in this episode, so I think I'll zoom back out again just so you can take a look at the sort of progress we're making so far, because there's a lot going on there, and we're only 14 episodes in. So there we are. I'm going to leave that there for today. Say until next time. Bye bye.